Hey everyone, Ryan here at eTrailer. Today on our 2024 Honda Passport, we're going to be showing you how to install the Curt custom fit vehicle wiring harness. Before we do that though, let's just take a minute, we'll check this out and make sure it's going to work for you. So for those of you that are wanting to pull a trailer around with your Passport, you're going to need a way to power up the lights on that trailer. That way you're not only safe, but it's a legal requirement as well. And that's where this Curt wiring is going to come into play. Right now, how we have it set up, it's actually inside the back of our vehicle. We've all seen people before, I'm sure at stoplights and stuff, that have their trailer wiring down here by the hitch. And with this kit, you can do that as well if you want, and I'll show you how you could do that during the installation. How we have it set up here though, I kind of like, especially if you're not going to be towing all the time. You know, you're not going to have to look at the connector underneath your vehicle and it be exposed to the elements and things like that. But if you're ready to use it, you open up your hatch, and the wiring we have stored inside of this cargo area here. So you just take it, drape it across the threshold, close the hatch on it, avoid the latch mechanism, you know, you don't want to get it hung up in there. But we'll close that door, and it might seem kind of odd doing this, but you're not going to hurt the wiring, you're not going to hurt your vehicle, nothing like that. It's designed to be able to handle this. And now we'll have that connection that we need to be able to hook up to our trailer. And with this, it's a 4-way flat type connector, which is extremely common with smaller, medium-sized trailers. And we'll get all of our basic functions. You know, we'll get our taillight signal, our brake lights, and our turn signals. To compare the Curt kit to the Takantra wiring that's available, not a ton of differences, to be honest with you. I have found that on some Passports, you know, you might need an additional fuse with the Takantra kit to get it to work, but you know, it's kind of situational, not really a huge deal either way. But yeah, pretty similar. So you can't really go wrong with either one, to be honest with you. It is nice that both the Curt and the Takantra kit do utilize the factory connector plug that's on these Hondas here in the back on the driver's side. And you'll have that plug back there regardless if your vehicle came from the factory with a hitch or not. Perfect example today, we installed the hitch on this and the connector plug was still back there. So nothing to really sweat there. But ultimately, at the end of the day, not a whole lot to it. You know, it's trailer wiring, you know, get those signals sent back and get you going down the road legal. As far as the installation goes, it's really not too bad. You loosen up a couple of panels, kind of pull them out, you get to that connector, plug it in. There's one ring terminal that you have to ground, which on the Honda, there's a factory bolt right there. Run your wire, and that's all there is to it. So it shouldn't really give you too many issues, but if you're someone who doesn't like dealing with anything electrical, or you know, maybe you're getting other stuff installed you're not comfortable doing, you'd rather have it all done at once, you can always use our dealer locator network. That can help you find a shop in your neighborhood to set this up for you. But if you're going to do it yourself, hang around, we'll go ahead and get started on it now. To begin our install, we're going to be here at the back of our Passport, and we need to get to a factory connector plug that'll be located over here in this area on our driver's side. And so to start off, we can remove any of our floor coverings. Or in this case, I'll probably just tilt this one forward. A little bit easier than trying to completely pull it out. And then we'll have this cargo tray here too. With this, looks like there's just little unlock knobs that you can turn. That'll allow you to lift it out of place, and we'll set it to the side. We're going to remove this threshold piece now, and with these there's just plastic fasteners holding it in place. So a lot of times you can just grab up on the corner of it, and then I'm just taking a trim tool here just to give it a little extra leverage. Just work your way all the way across. Get this unsnapped. So that's the type of fasteners that we're keeping this in place, you know. So by prying up on them, pops them free. And with this removed, we'll go ahead and set it off to the side. Over here in this corner, we're gonna have a little cargo hook, and if you lift up on it, then open up this little cover here, you just take a pick or something, and get in behind there. Pop it open. That'll expose a Phillips head screw, and a lot of times these are really tight. So if you have, you know, a power tool like this, it's a little more ideal than trying to use a regular handheld screwdriver. And just make sure that your bit is in there real good. Go ahead and zip that out, and we can set this off to the side for now. We can grab our panel now and pop it free. Kind of the same deal like we did with the threshold if you need to get a trim panel tool in behind there. But we really don't need to get too carried away. Really just unsnap it a little ways, enough to give us some room to work down here. This electrical cable is kind of limiting us on how far we can pull this out, and it'd be a little more convenient if we could get just a little bit more out of it. So I'm going to disconnect it, just push down on that tab and pull that out. And we're able to kind of work this out of the way a little bit more. So if you look in behind here, this white connector plug here, that's going to nothing, that's our trailer connector that we were looking for. And they have it taped up. I'm just gonna kind of carefully pull it away from that tape. That way we'll have a little more length to work with. You can grab your new wiring harness now. Make sure the fuse is not installed just yet. We'll do that at the very end once we have everything hooked up. But the connector on the new harness is going to line up with the factory one. Let's go ahead and plug those two together. We can take this white wire with the pre-attached ring terminal and ground that out. It turns out there's a factory ground right here, so we're going to utilize that. A 10mm socket. We'll loosen that up, remove the bolt. We'll take our white wire here and the factory bolt, put the bolt through the ring terminal, back through the factory ground. Get it started. You can take the included fuse now. We'll pop that into the fuse holder, and then we can check and see if our vehicle has the factory fuse in place as well. What you want to look for, under the hood, you'll have this fuse box here. If you remove the cover, we're looking at this opening here. Now, sometimes the vehicle will have the correct fuse there from the factory. Other times, like in our case today, you don't have anything there. So what we can do, we'll take the included fuse with our Curt harness and put that into position. Before we go any further, putting all this stuff back together, I do like to test our wiring to make sure that it's working properly first. So I like to use a tester like this as opposed to just hooking up to a trailer. And I say that because if our trailer happens to have any issues, it might mislead us into thinking it's something we did on our vehicle side. But with that in mind, we'll try our left turn signal, our right turn signal. We'll hit our brakes and try out our running lights. I went ahead and secured our wiring up just using some zip ties there. That way it's not bouncing around and everything. And as far as what you can do with your 4-way flat wiring, you have a couple of choices. You can leave it stored on the inside of your vehicle, which is what we're going to do. So I'll probably just leave it kind of laid like this, put our panel back on top of it, go from there. Or if you want to route it outside next to your hitch, you can do that. If you look in that little opening there, there's a rubber grommet. You could always pop that out, cut a slice in it, drop your wiring down through to the underside of the vehicle, put that grommet back in there, seal it up, and that's one way you could get your connector in outside. With everything working and in place, I reinstalled our panels the opposite way that we removed them, and where we're going to end up keeping our 4-way flat connector here, I just put our cargo compartment in, and this will live in here whenever we're not using it. But with that done, that'll finish up our look at and our installation of the Curt custom fit vehicle wiring harness on our 2024 Honda Passport.